Hello everyone, today we are here again in the Tech Hack and we are going to start with the third lecture, that is computer system architecture under the subject operating system. So guys, today we will discuss what are the types of computer system architectures and what are the advantage and disadvantage of them. Starting with the computer system architecture, we need to understand that computer system is large and complex and it must be engineered in such a way so that it can function properly and can be modified easily. When we move into the details of computer system architecture, we have generally three types of systems. Those three systems are single process system, multiprocessor system and clustered system. Guys, when you talk about a single process system, as the name states, only a single processor is there. So one CPU is available there and which will be executing all the general purpose instruction sets so that all the outputs will be generated by the CPU only and will be recorded to the system as per the commands given by the CPU. Some other processor we can also use, that are GPU, disk controller microprocessors and keyboard microprocessors. When we talk about the multiprocessor system, we also name them as parallel system. Parallel system means multiple things are being run by using a system. The advantage of these systems are increased throughput, economy of scale and increased reliability. When we talk about the increased throughput, it means it gives much output. As parallel system is there, it means multiple systems are working all together to accomplish a task. That is why we are saying they are giving the increased throughput. Economy of scale, multiple processes can be executed at the same instant. Increased reliability, these are fault tolerant because if there are multiple processors are running over there for a single task, then if one processor fails, even then other processors or cores will help it out to increase the reliability. So we call them as fault tolerant systems also. Guys, in multiprocessor systems we have two types of multiprocessor systems. One is asymmetric and second is symmetric. In asymmetric, it is similar to client server architecture, like master and slave processors. One processor becomes as master and orders other slaves, like it guides other processors to work upon. And system symmetric processing, multiprocessing, we have shared memory system. A common memory space is required, so all the processors will put their data on the common space and other processors will fetch the data from that system. In this way, all the processors are equal, they are working as common, like there is no master, there is no slave. In that part, there is third system is clustered system. In clustered system, we use LAN connection, LAN type of system. It means all the systems are connected with each other and they are making a combination of system of a particular system and it is working. So it works on a faster interconnection, it works for multiple storage as well, and all the system's capacity is used to compile the task. When we talk about the OS architecture, guys, before starting to the OS architecture, we need to understand that whenever you are deploying an architecture, it should be able to solve the issues. The first thing that comes in our mind when we purchase an operating system is multi-programming. Guys, there are three things: multi-programming, multiprocessing and multitasking. We need to understand what is multi-programming and others too. Shortly, I will be creating a video to explain these three things. For this video, right now we are moving to the multi-programming. In multi-programming, we say that multiple jobs are running at the same instant. Single user cannot keep CPU and input devices busy at all times. This is just a line. So one job selected and run via job scheduling. It simply means we need to understand. See what happens in operating system. A process is there. Now this process is being divided into multiple parts, that job 1, job 2, job 3 and job 4. So what we are doing, we have created this particular process in multiple parts. So a process is converted into job 1, job 2, job 3, job 4 and job 5. So whenever you will be executing, a process is cumulatively working upon 4 parts. So these 4 parts are being executed by the processor. So ultimately 4 parts of this processor, if we are saying P is divided into P1, P2, P3 and P4, so all are working all together, and what will happen due to this all working together, system will work fast and we will get the output much faster. So that is the multi-programming. right? And due to this, multi-programming is required much in the system, but it is also decided that you can't take all the system in the multi-programming, because it affects the cost as well, and it affects the system as well. Next part, when multi-programming is there, we need to store all the jobs in job pool, right? So job pool is the area where you keep the processes before moving into the ready queue. And whenever CPU is there, first of all you need to put the processes from job pool to scheduler, and scheduler dispatch them into the ready queue, and then after CPU works upon them. This we will discuss in process set diagram in details. Then after, there is a concept of virtual memory and physical memory. In virtual memory and physical memory, we have two part, that whenever you are in virtual memory, it is like something which is in your RAM part, and physical memory relates to your hardware part, right guys? Now moving to the next part, simple structure. When we talk about the simple structure, it is a type of structure in which OS is designed. These structures are simple, small and limited. This is the structure of operating system DOS. DOS was just created to use by few people, and it was initially designed and implemented without any idea that it would become so popular. When you talk about the MS-DOS, interfaces and levels of functionalities are not well separated. So application programs are vulnerable to malicious program. I show you the structure of operating system DOS. So this is the simple structure of MS-DOS. You can check it out. There are application programs, there are system programs, there are device drivers, and there are BIOS device drivers. So when you talk about the application program is the way to guide the operating system by the user. System program is the part of the system of this structure which takes the input from the application program and run on the and convert them as per the requirement. Device drivers are the part of the structure which take commands from the system programs and make ready the devices to work upon. Then BIOS device drivers are the BIOS system level program drivers which executes ultimately to execute that specific task. The important thing over there is that we are having direct access as well as layered access of these all parts to the operating system, that is the BIOS device drivers. Now what happens if someone is having the access to application program is having the access to BIOS device driver? So it means it is vulnerable to malicious programs. That is why we face the issues in MS-DOS, and it is quite easy to crack the system, to crack the security of the system by using MS-DOS. Next part, guys, when you talk about the simple structure, the benefit is that is simple, small and limited, but disadvantages, it is vulnerable, it is not so secure. The next approach or the operating system structure is layered approach. In layered approach there are benefits. Before this we will need to go to the structure of the layered approach. In layered approach we are having layers like this. Multiple layers are there. So the utmost layer is named as user interface. Then after we are having multiple layers in between, and the innermost layer is named as hardware. So whenever you need to interact, you need to interact to the lower level, and then the lower and lower and lower, and ultimately to the innermost. Guys, the benefit of this is you can easily see that as it was quite open for the application program to access the BIOS device drivers. It means the outermost layer was able to contact with the innermost layer, so it was making the system vulnerable. But in case of layered approach, the uppermost layer is accessible, is having the access to the adjacent layer only, so it cannot move to the layer 3rd, layer 1 or layer hardware as well. So whenever is some problem is there, some debugging is required, it can be done. So guys, in detail we can see over here, this is an example of Linux layered approach. So Linux operating system example is there, so you can check it out, that we are having multiple users over there on the outermost layer. Then after, multiple layers are there. Those layers are shell, kernel and hardware. Whenever user need to access the system, it needs to contact the shell. When shell needs to contact, it needs to contact the kernel. Kernel will call to the hardware. Hardware will revert the execution to kernel. Kernel will revert to the shell. Shell will revert to the application. In this way users work. So it means there are some advantages. Those advantages are: it is broken into number of layers, it is simple to construct, it is having debugging and system verification issue, and the debugging and system verification ability. Any layer can be debugged without any concern for the rest of the system. It means if you want to check out the if any debugging is required for the application layer, then there is no use of kernel layer in this debugging. It can work upon, like shell is not going to be touched, is not going to be touched for the kernel as well, not for the hardware as well. Application is working on its own, as well as it is simplified design and implementation example. So we use this thing for the layered approach. Guys, some disadvantages are also there. First thing, careful planning is necessary. If you are designing the layered approach and one layer is having the issues, it will pass the things, or the wrong instructions will be passed to the next layer, because next layer, like layer third, is not having interaction to layer 1, so it will take layer two's instructions as much as true. So guys, we need to be careful while planning. Next part, a layer can use only lower layer levels. There is no touch, so no information passing. Information may need to be swapped in and swapped out every time. Whenever you are passing the information to the next layer, it is need to be stored in the memory, swapped in, and then again taken from the memory. It is less efficient, as some layer gets fail. The layer 1, if in case if layer 2 gets fail, layer 1 will lose the contact to layer 3. So that is the problem with layered